I'm live, but it's glitchy and I am completely out of focus. Hello? Okay, it's working. It's working on getting better. Wow, that's really weird. I have not had a blurry screen before. Let me try to clean off my lens. Is that it? Well, turns out that was it. So anyway, it's good to be back with you again. Sorry I have been gone, but and I am getting ready to let this go. I have let go a lot of the whole David Wilcock thing in the last couple of days because I felt a pretty dramatic shift about 2 days ago, and I felt that he. Granted, I just feel like I'm going to sound kind of stupid saying this, but I felt like he wasn't dead, but that he had left Earth. And then I remembered early on in the process when I was thinking about it, and I think I was first formulating the idea that he was not dead. My guides are like, look up at that. And the cloud was in the exact shape of the Starship Enterprise. And I didn't connect the dots. And then the dream card kept showing up for me and for other people who were looking at this. And I was like, okay, the dream card, that's the only way this deck has the ability to communicate to me something about a dream. And I think it indicates a dream come true. And my sense was that he was up on this ship. He's all over the place. It's like there was an adjustment period, and now he's being introduced to his new life, which involves all kinds of stuff that he was not allowed to be privy to before. And now he's having firsthand experience. And I just felt I felt like there was a connection through the grief and the emotional process he was going through because I'm such an empath. And then it just kind of wasn't there anymore. And I felt like he was not reaching out to his community for emotional support as much as he was like, holy cow, I got a whole new life now. And he's just been so absorbed with it that it's taken him away from, he still has a grief process and an adjustment process, but I felt like it took him away from that. So when we look at his cards, I just noticed, okay, so turning 53 meant that he was going through a 13-year period ruled by Saturn from 52 to 64. And is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the 10 of clubs for him. And the card under that is the Jack of Spades. So 10 of clubs is, of course, prominence and visibility, which as a Saturn card, having such a wealth of information and being in the role of a teacher was his calling. It was his Saturn. But could it also be that launching into this 13-year period is about getting even more information, and the Jack of Spades is about a massive turn your life inside out and upside down kind of thing? So that's actually the descending, even though it goes up to the crown line. So let's look at the ascending, and we end up at the 2 of clubs. And my guides did tell me, look at the spiritual spread for this, what's under the 2 of clubs. So 2 of clubs is communication, conversations, yada, yada. But the Ace of Spades is the karma card. And that represents what is beyond the veil. So doing the work of the Jack of Spades, accepting this initiation that he's going through, resulting in the Ace of Spades, a new life. And I was looking for an ace because there are a lot of 9s in his hand this year. But that ace tells us what we need to know if we're going along with this narrative that he's in a new life. Max, do you need to go out? Should we let you... Okay, I have to open the window for Max. Careful. Whoa! Okay, be careful. the dogs out a nice egress window sometimes because it's easier. Anyway, say hello in the chat if you're here, if you want to. I did a video, last week, and Green Knight chimed in. I have not checked to see if there are any other comments, but I just got a pretty straightforward reading that things are as they appear. And he had a really dear friend named Jude who came out of the woodworks and made a video talking about David's troubles and everything. But Jude was not sad. And maybe Jude is not an actor. Maybe Jude believes that he is gone. I don't know. And in the readings I was doing, I kept getting that there were 3 people in his inside world that were allowed to know. And I imagined that, if it were up to him, he would have chosen to tell his dad and his brother to save them the enormity of grief, that they would be going through. So I've always wondered who's that third person. I don't know if they're still alive. But anyway, so let's look at his cards for that other stuff, I was looking at this spread. So let's look at the 53rd spread. So his card is in the King of Diamonds real estate, which is down there in horizontal Uranus in the vertical Jupiter. So this is where his card is. And Uranus-Jupiter is quite a powerful combination for expansion into something revolutionary. And, shall we say, unconventional and completely unexpected. Okay, doggies, did you get to go pee? So, granted, I'm going to be interpreting these according to my gut feeling that he didn't die. Because, first of all, he didn't own a gun. Second of all, he believed very intensely that suicide was the wrong way to go. And I just don't think there was anything in his life in terms of coming from a history of having committed suicide and people in his family, I just don't get any energy around, I can feel that when that's in someone's lineage or it's in their past lives and there's a proclivity to go in that direction. And I don't feel that for him. So anyway, something else happened. So he is flanked by 2s in his Mercury period. So descending, and this happened in his Mercury period, descending, he has the 2 of Diamonds, and ascending, he has the 2 of Clubs, which is also in his life spread as an ascending Saturn period. So the 2 of Clubs, what can you say about that? I've always thought it was more about the internal conversation we have with ourselves, but it is communication. And its karma cards are the Queen of Diamonds and the 9 of Diamonds. And the Queen of Diamonds definitely has kind of a reckoning energy. Thank you for the like. Kind of a reckoning with the truth kind of energy. And 2 of Clubs has the karma card of Ace of Spades, the card of secrets and what's beyond the veil. I guess what stands out to me is that they're not cards of a larger value, meaning it's just him. There's a sense of aloneness, even though a 2 is about partnership. Like, it's not the 10 of Hearts, which is, a lot of people. It's not the 4, which is, stability. They're 2s. I don't know. So they feel a little flimsy in terms of relational connection. But who knows what the primary relationship may be now that's going on. Okay, so let's look at a few of his other cards. So the descending Pluto is the 8 of Diamonds. And that is a conviction of values, power and strength with money. I don't really have a lot to say about that other than I got the feeling that his debt and financial troubles are over. And the ascending Pluto is the 9 of spades. So there's one of the really powerful ending cards, but it's ascending. So the high side, we could say death and ascension, and transcending a human life. Maybe he did die, but I don't know. It is definitely a massive departure from his old life. There's no way around that. I'm getting an intuitive hit that we may not be able to verify, but there's something about what is going to happen to his house that will let us know something or be a clue. Okay, the descending Venus is the 10 of diamonds. So, and that's what he's going to be coming into the end of this month, beginning of May, which makes a lot of sense. And I'm getting there's something to do with death and taxes, and that it's going to get a big whack of money back. I don't know. That's just what I'm getting. I actually get that for all of us, but I don't feel that coming till September. Hi, Sharon. Hey there. And then the ascending is the 3 of diamonds, which we know who that is. Venus means relationship, and I did get a vision of him having a conversation with a very prominent 3 of diamonds. And that just really makes sense to me. Okay, descending Mars is, yeah, and the number of 6s that showed up feels like it has to do with karma and timing. So there's an ascending Saturn that is the 6 of diamonds, and a descending Mars that is the 6 of hearts. So maybe he is going to be introduced to some kind of karmic relationship in his Mars period, which is July, August. And then the Queen of Hearts means it's going to be romantic. So maybe he's going to find a really wonderful partner that he can have this relationship out of the public eye. I mean, that must be a relief. I mean, if this is the case, yada yada, if this is the case, it's going to be wonderful. Okay, I think the Neptune cards are very interesting. Descending Neptune is King of Clubs. So spirituality and knowledge, it's in vertical Jupiter, so there's this huge expansion of knowledge. And then the ascending Neptune is the 4 of clubs, which is like, oh, that makes sense now. Like, he's just going to get a much larger picture about absolutely everything. Don't see really anything else of note in the age 53 spread. So let's actually throw some cards, and my guides are a little excited about this. So I ask for the protection and guidance of Jesus, Archangel Michael, and any light beings associated with David Wilcock that would like to give us some information and to guide the questions. It's kind of weird. Like, how do you ask questions about this? So if you have a question in mind that you would like to ask, please post it. Okay, they're giving me a question, which is angels / higher vibrational star family ET, like Venusians or Pleiadians or, Syrians or whoever's like Andromedans. So we can get an answer both ways if you are leaning towards he's passed away, or if you're leaning towards he's still around. If he's still around, it's ETs. If he's passed away, it's angels. What is your relationship? What is your interaction with angels at this time? And I should probably be throwing Zen Osho cards, but I felt like they wanted this. 5 of Hearts, a new freedom in connecting with them, emotional freedom. There's a desire energy that's coupled with this that just satisfies the inner child and one's curiosity. So that's kind of cool. Self-knowledge. So that applies to both, when you're in the presence of a higher vibrational being, there's a transparency thing that's going on. So I think if you were willing, you would be able to see a lot more about yourself in their presence, and might be in the Pluto position since it's in the middle. I didn't specify that with my mind, but if it was, this is a challenge. And this would definitely relate to, in a near-death experience, they talk about like going before the council, the life review, that kind of thing. So that would fit for that. Jack of Diamonds means being initiated into a new set of values, but I think he's working on behalf of, the USA, the White Hats. Let's see what's on the bottom. We get the Nine of Clubs, which is today, but it's also a very open at the top, expanded kind of information, as well as the death of an old paradigm. And maybe that's why suddenly he feels really distant. And I think we can all collectively accept the fact that there's a grieving process to go through, that we've lost his, if you tuned into his Sunday videos, I did, just because I felt a connection with him, and like I wanted to connect with the community that felt the same way. I thought he was really off about certain things, but anyway, that's cool. Okay, are there more questions? No, the guides are done with this deck for now. They're like, do this deck. What kinds of things are you working on? And we're going to pay special attention to the imagery of the cards. And again, this could be the dead or alive. Much more interesting, I think, though, if he's alive. Are there projects that you're working on? And I promise I'm just going to get back to doing regular readings. Stuart and I had a fantastic conversation about his descending and ascending Pluto after he went on and on about integrity for a while. And I was like thinking about his cards, and I went, wow, you just described the evolution from the descending to the ascending, from the Seven of Spades, working through issues of integrity, to the Four of Spades, which is a solid foundation. It was like, wow, I need to talk about that some more. That's really fun to look at that. And if you have not gone to my website, or you don't know about this, on my website are free recordings for every Cards Pluto card, all 52 of them. You can find, I need to go on there and find how to find it because I haven't looked it up. But my website is likely going to be going through a massive change. I'm being charged $79 a month just for web hosting, and it's Weebly. They just totally suck. So I need to just recreate it to something that's affordable. So it might go down for a while, or I might throw another 79 bucks at it for May, just so that I have time, so that it's still there. But if you would please do me the honor by supporting me by buying something off the site, even if it's just like a $14 product or something, because I would really like for the website to be able to pay for itself. Okay, enough about that. What is David Wilcock working on? Let's see. Just want me to cut the deck. Oh, good. A card flipped out. 2. Playfulness and silence. But what do we see in the cards? We see stars, and we see stars. I'm getting jet propulsion. I really am. I'm not kidding. Okay, is this the moon? I think that's the moon. And what I've heard is that we've taken the moon back. And the whole Artemis thing was a part of the messaging around that, I think. Even though the whole thing was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? I don't think that they went up in space or anything. I think it was all faked. But there was a friendly and uplifted spirit around all of it, that I don't think it was a negative psyop. But anyway, I think he's on the moon, or will be, or has been, and maybe going from there through the jump gates to Mars and all the other things. And the playful is having a really insanely good time. And the sparkles around them, what does that mean? Magic, maybe some kind of energy that's in the ether. maybe a kind of like a Tesla type energy. I'm getting to do this card on the top. Okay, it's the laziness card, and I do not interpret this negatively anymore, especially since Rumi says the lazier you are, the better. It's fun to think about that one. But the laziness card, okay, so we see the tiles, which have been associated with the Illuminati and the whole deep state thing. But there's a cushion on it, and he's got his foot on the cushion, and so it's like overcoming it. Thank you for those hearts, Sharon. And again, there are stars. And again, I was getting like a tropical location or somewhere warm where he is. But no, this has more to do with the dominating of the old guard. Whatever he's doing, it's like, let me make, a footstool for my feet. There's some messianic psalm about that. The earth will be a footstool for my feet, feeling like I don't want to say dominating, but there's some hierarchical energy around that. Okay, so what else is he working on? Whoa, tower. But what do we see in this card? We see little naked people falling from a great tower, but there's a meditative spirit underneath. Okay, and what I'm getting about this, let me say, okay, it's what floated into my head, but okay, this is about the fall of the cabal. This is about the crisis moment that Earth is going through, and I don't know that the white hats chose this date. I think the universe chose this time for him to go into another role, another chapter of his life. And I've just been feeling that intuitively so strongly, especially with all the cards that I did in my Instagram videos. So if you haven't seen those, you can see them also on Facebook, just in my Paula Krueger Facebook page. Instagram just puts them over there immediately. So I love that feature. And it's getting so much more traction over there on Facebook. But if you're on Instagram, just look up Kismet cards. And I did a bunch of readings about it after I did the one on this channel. So yeah, I'm getting that he is more informed about what's going on in terms of the collapse of the deep state, but there's a detachment from it. So last night we watched the last Star Wars movie again, called The Rise of Skywalker. And there is this part at the end where you're literally watching all of these, like the Dark Fleet falling out of the sky in the wreckage, just landing and landing and landing, and the light beginning to break through. And I was just sitting there going, I need to really reckon with the fact that this has happened. The old guard is falling apart. It's largely deconstructed and it's going away. And I think we need to begin to feel into something that's very disorienting and different, which is freedom. And, the whole galaxy showed up for this battle. And this one lieutenant, these guys in one of the Dark Fleet ships, he's like, who is that? And the guy goes, it's not a country. It's not a planet. It's just people. People just got together all over the galaxy and said, no more. And I was like, yeah, that's what's happening here too. And all of a sudden I saw a kind of empowerment happening all over the world. And I also get, what do you guys get for July? Let's do some cards on that. Okay, David, we bid you adieu. I feel like we're done for now, looking into your life. But what I get for July, and I guess I should look at the United States spread for this, but let's throw some cards for it. I've been getting that there is going to be a massive natural event. It will be seen as something natural, like a big solar flare or something. And it will have a transformational effect, just like with all the solar flares that we've been getting. It's like, yeah, it's just the sun doing the thing. But if you're on a spiritual path, or maybe that's not even the condition, but a lot of us were just feeling frickin' exhausted. And I think it maybe was on Easter, and there'd been a lot of prophecy about this Easter and Chris Bledsoe and various things. But the integration period, it was just like, oh my gosh, I need to take a nap. So kind of in that vein, but the sense that I get about what's coming is just going to be so enormous that it will be planetary. 3 things I felt. The second thing I felt that was coming right next to that, and slightly lesser in power and significance, and just consider that less than, that is ET disclosure. I was getting a massive bombshell of disclosure that, the appearance of, like, they are going to appear and there will be a statement, or, just some kind of undeniable disclosure, or just like filling the sky. Margie something or other, can't think of her last name, big blonde woman, said that that's what she was getting. And she's really good. And she was seeing the sky filling up with positive ships and that kind of thing. The third thing that I felt, much lower in intensity, but maybe not significance for those of us on the planet, was a policy change. And I just see heads down, especially in Washington, and it may be global, I don't know, but I specifically saw our government, and heads down, just kind of looking ahead and just doing the work. And then as I've been doing personal readings for people, I get a big shift for them, especially a financial shift in September or by September. So raise in consciousness, the revelation of ETs, and then things actually moving in a little more plotting. So anyway, let's, like, plotting with a D. Let's look at some cards based on my theory, my feeling. And please let me know in the comments if you have a sense about July, because I know I'm not alone. I think we're feeling the ripple effects from an event. They spread out into the past and the future, and we can feel them. So my dogs need to go outside. We've left them alone all day. Okay, what about my theory? 4 of clubs. That's pretty clear that I'm seeing clearly. What else about my theory? 2 of diamonds. Well, it's David Wilcock's descending Mercury card right now. But it's going to align with our personal values, and maybe there's a very personal aspect to this experience, which definitely feels true for me. I can't think of any famous 2 of diamonds, but what's the third card? Oh, massive initiation. There you go. That's the card that I would look for to validate this really big change. Okay, let's throw 3 more specifically at the ET disclosure. 8 of hearts, Queen of diamonds, 6 of diamonds. Healing. So a raise in the frequency and really feeling it on an emotional level. Love, the power of love. Queen of diamonds, she's a truth teller. And I'm just feeling like there's this big reckoning with, like, oh, wow, they really are real. Even if you know, it's still going to be shockwave. 6 of diamonds means a karmic purpose, the timing of it, balancing of karma. Okay, 3 more cards on the policy change. What might that entail? And I just want to say the other card we would be looking for this big transformation would be the Ace of Spades, isn't it? Look at what's on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so for the policy shift, we get a loving father energy. So that would be like a government person doing something on behalf of the people. 7 of Spades is a high priest vibration, but it's also about aligning the physical to be integrity. Just like with Stuart, we were talking about him being a 3 of clubs, and he was talking about integrity and living in your values. And I was like, there's more of a flow energy to what you're talking about than anything else. He's like, you're not reacting to the past or trying to get something in the future. You're just in alignment, and it's just your nature to do this thing. And I was like, you're talking about the effortless flow of the seven of spades, which would result in his ascending Pluto, which is the four of spades, which would be home, foundation, solid, like physically solid. And definitely that is the foundation of his life. Okay, so the seven of spades, this policy will bring us into alignment with righteousness, with rightness, something that should be happening. And the final card we have is the Ace of Clubs. It's a new beginning in knowledge. There's a curiosity, maybe a new vein of study. Somehow something opens up, maybe a new education, a new beginning with education, which of course would be re-educating the world according to our actual history. A new beginning in consciousness, somehow having an effect on the policy of like, now we know, and this is the sense I was getting before, now that we know our preciousness and our value and how we should behave towards our fellow man, we are going to think and act differently. If you've been leaving comments and I've not been responding, I am so sorry they're not showing up. Would somebody just put a heart in the chat or something just to show me whether or not the chat is working? Wow. Well, that was really fun. You know, that was kind of Laura's View and Tarot 2, and I highly encourage you to go to her YouTube channel, Laura's View and Tarot 2. She does, God, I just love her videos. She has so much integrity. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sharon. It is working. At least it's working for Sharon. God, these lilacs are just intoxicating. These little ones are the most fragrant. And we went to see Stuart's aunt in Boulder today, and she's like, just break a few off. I was like, oh, what a gift. Oh my God, what was I just talking about? Oh, Laura's View. She does a really great inquiry into David Wilcock and gets exactly what I got, including the Boulder police thing, in that they were being coerced. And now, so this is the one other, I got a few more intuitive hits that I didn't share, or, you know, since my last videos. And one of them is that I didn't sense any dark, nefarious, negative energy. Thank you, Sharon. Yes, they are pretty. Around his house at that time, and that the story that's going out is something that was agreed on. And I think it was the White Hats that said, this is the way it's going down. This is the story you're going to tell. This is what it's going to look like. And I also feel that way about his community, meaning people like Laura Eisenhower. She and Lily Nova did a little interview thing, and they touched on it and talked more about the passing of the mantle. And I feel that as a benediction, that he stepped out of the way and we're leaving the celebrity program behind anyway. And so, you know, Laura at the beginning and the end of her video said, Laura's View and Tarot 2 said, I will be continuing my regular world peace meditation, which is something David did all the time. And I just think that's so cool. But something else that a friend pointed out to me is that they would choose this story knowing that nobody would buy it, or that people who really knew him couldn't possibly buy it, because they knew him well enough to know that he said he didn't own a gun, which makes perfect sense. You know, he's got his Monica the Moose and his turkeys and, you know, girly girl, and his relationship to animals was just precious. And he also, you know, really opposed taking one's own life and the karmic repercussions. But anyway, people that know him know this, and they're like, nah, that's definitely not what happened. And then it would lead potentially, you know, to the greater possibility of like, oh, missing scientists, jet propulsion, anti-gravity action. This is really about energy, reclaiming energy on the planet. And I think that's what the Strait of Iran is all about. I don't want to say the other word because I don't want to be tagged. But it's all about energy, reclaiming our energy on every level. So anyway, hey, thank you for the little thingies going up. I see those. Oh, you guys, thank you. Okay, so what I'm getting is that you just really agree. Yeah, so So that makes sense to me that he would be taken on the team, you know, and wouldn't it be cool if somehow Tesla time traveled and he's like hanging out with him now and JFK Jr. And did I tell you that when I remote viewed this, I was in a hypnagogic state, what he called the dream voice, but I truly was not consciously remote viewing, which is really different because then your agenda gets in the way. I was in a hypnagogic state and I saw him pull something dead off of a shelf, and then I heard the word Elvis come in. And I was like, oh, yeah, like the Elvis Island. So anyway, it was really great hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much. I miss you. I will be back. And I think we can expect shorter videos, more spontaneous videos, because my ADD is making me just really want to do the Instagram thing because it's so quick and easy. So if you haven't found me on Instagram, go to Kismet Cards and hit the follow button. And I just do little daily readings, 3-card draws. And I would love your comments on them. And it also translates to Facebook right away. But anyway, love you guys so much. Have a really great rest of your day. No, I didn't want edit. Whoops. End stream. Okay. Bye-bye. It's not responding. End stream.